Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, welcome back. Welcome to Cloud and DevOps Batch 58. So before I start the session, today we would like to talk mostly on the non-technical aspects. Okay, we don't deal anything related to what do you call technical. We'll see how work happens. Yesterday we have seen how in corporate we connect to a network which is called as a VPN, how from AWS account to from AWS account to backend on-prem. How are we going to connect? What are the options that are available to connect from on-prem to your infrastructure, or from your infrastructure to on-prem is also something we have discussed. Now, today, what I would like to discuss is, okay, I would like to discuss about how in reality we do the work. Okay, that is very important. Okay, whenever you attend any interview, the very first thing that they ask you is, are you using Kanban model or what is your team size, how work is being delegated. Okay, and how your manager comes to know how occupied you are. Okay, so how do you come to know? Okay, so that's where we need to understand how work is delegated. Works. Okay, this is very important. Okay, before I proceed further, if anyone has any questions, we can talk before we proceed further. Anyone? Let me take a pause. Rachit, Ambit, Shailaja, Mridula, Harish, Vikram. Any questions? Am I audible? Can someone confirm it?
Yes, Manoj.
Audible. Yes, Manoj, audible.
Can you speak one more time?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Let's get started then. Okay. So guys, we should understand how work is delegated in organizations. Okay. For example, you are working for an application called as a WhatsApp. Okay. And as a part of this WhatsApp development, the company WhatsApp has a lot of features to develop. Okay. For example, they intend to develop a feature called as, okay, voice call feature is a feature, and video call feature. These are the features that they wish to develop. Texting, emoticons, then a group call, okay. This is how these are the features that company wants to work. And it's not like, for example, if this feature is taking 1 year of time, it's not like they wait till the end of this feature completes. It's not how it works. Okay, so typically in organizations they work through a methodology called as a agile methodology. Okay, they follow a methodology called as agile methodology. Okay, they follow a methodology called as the agile methodology. Okay, so what is this agile methodology is? Okay, it is a way of delivering the work. Let's assume there is a framework. In this framework, there are two types of works. First mode is Scrum. Another is Kanban. Okay, so if you are working in an active development project, okay, if you are working in an active development projects, you see this model. Okay, you are lucky if you got an opportunity to work in this, or try to get into the projects where Kanban Scrum is there. Kanban is like support based projects. Okay, and work will be based on unplanned, and you will work on ticket basis. Okay, so for example, I don't want to talk about Kanban. Let's talk about Scrum. Okay, typically in a team of Scrum, okay, so it's always believed, okay, great products like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, all these things, they proved that teams that are smaller than less than 8 are some teams that are having better outcome rather than a team with the 10, 20, 30 members. What they do is it's always recommended to have a team that is lesser than 8. Okay, so as a part of this, okay, Scrum is always a team of 8. In Scrum, we typically form a team, 8 members. Okay. Okay. And in these 8 members, how it will be classified is okay. And the first okay. Scrum Master. So he's the guy who is responsible for running the Scrum. Okay. Nowadays, this is purely a non-technical. This is just like a business managerial role where this guy is responsible for running the Scrum. Okay. Another role is team members. Team members. When I say team members, this includes everyone. Developers, testing, okay, DevOps, or SRE, okay. So this forms a team of 8. So whenever you want to develop any sort of feature or whenever you're working on any active development project, this goes in this way. In any organization, 80% of the work is planned, should be planned. If it is not planned, that means if things are going on ad hoc basis, that means either you don't have a proper Scrum Master or work is not delegated. Okay, so for this WhatsApp as a product, okay, you will have a product manager. Okay, so you have a new role called as a product manager, and he is the guy who knows what is important to the business. Okay, so all the Scrum Masters okay would be reporting to the product manager. Okay, and each Scrum Master would manage more than 1 or 2 scrums. Okay, that is not defined. Okay, so under the Scrum Master, product manager, Scrum Masters will be there. Now what this product manager does is, okay, he know that he cannot develop the whole application in a single whole. What he'll do is, so texting emoticons, why? Okay, he wants texting feature should be given. So what they do is, okay, again, okay, they create something, how teams come to know who is working on what. Okay, who is working on what, and how your manager come to know how busy you are, and if you wish to assign more work to you, on what basis he has to assign you the work. How does he come to know that you need to work on it? Okay, that's when we create a big stories into epics. Okay, because it's not possible to create one single task and do it, right? And that's the reason we create an epic. An epic is nothing but it's a Jira terminology. Okay, Jira is an Atlassian product. Okay, epic is a very big story, since okay, a texting feature we cannot develop in a whole. Okay, okay, so we'll create an epic called as a testing epic, and this product manager, Scrum Master, and the team will connect, will discuss, okay, this is a very big feature, how long it's going to take. So it's tentatively people give the timelines, and in this texting feature, okay, this I know this cannot be delivered in a single shot. What we typically do is we create stories. Story is nothing but task. Let's assume this way. We create multiple stories. We'll create multiple stories. Okay, you should know all this, okay, because this is how internally things operate. It's not just technology all the time, right? Yesterday, day before yesterday, one of my student from batch 56 got an opportunity. He's from the mainframe. So I was just asking him, they have almost asked 15 minutes about this process. So what was these things? However, I have this in my curriculum, but I just want to make sure I want to talk on this. I thought of covering Kubernetes today, but I just make sure I cover these aspects first. Okay. So single epic is again divided into stories. Okay. Stories. Multiple stories. Okay, story 001. Maybe this is for developing a feature. Okay. Okay, so we'll create multiple stories. A story is nothing but a task. Now, the story can be okay. So how do you complete? How do you know how long it's going to take to complete? Okay, so that's why each and every story we create will have points. Okay, typically, okay, again, this is as per the company policy. If it is a 1 point, okay, that means it's a half day work. Okay, again, this is arbitrary. It purely changes from company to company. If it is 3 points, okay, if it is 3 point means 1 to 3 days of work. Okay, and if it is 5 points, typically it's a 1 week of work. Okay, and if it is 8 points, okay, 2 weeks of work. Okay, if you are working on an 8-point story, that means you have a work to be delivered in 2 weeks. So no one will come and ask you to do it. If someone comes and asks you, hey, can you work on this task, or can you work on this, you can say that, hey, this 8-point story is my delivery. I'm working on this goal. If you want, I can stop this and work. You can upfront say. Okay, this is how people come to know whether you are really working or not. Okay, this is also called as a t-shirt sizing, but this is something purely dependent on company where you are working, your company policies and all these things. So I really don't want to comment on it, but it's purely arbitrary. Okay, you need to be very clear on it. Manoj said this, but it has not been followed. No, it's purely arbitrary. Okay, all right, clear. Now this story will be one story, okay, with 8 points, and another story with okay, there are companies that also has 13 points. Okay, 3 points, and you also have one more guy. You gave it a 5 points, and when this has to be delivered, okay, when this has to be delivered, okay, that's when what we do is we run something called a scrum. Okay, so now agile is continuous. Okay, agile is continuous improvement. So here the process is yeah, agile development. Yeah, this is what it is. Let me copy this. Okay, so here in the agile methodology, rather than we developing a single feature that's going to take a hell lot of time, what we are going to do is we'll take one feature. Okay, testing is a very big feature, for example, and out of that we'll take one task. Okay, so epic is not something that can be delivered in some 1 or 2 weeks of time. It is something it takes months of time to accomplish. Okay? You take a feature, you plan it. It is called as a scrum planning or a sprint planning. And once the planning is completed, okay, you start okay in agile methodology. Okay, we use a word called as a sprint. I keep on using new words today. I told you this is a theory session. Sprint. Okay, as I told you, we don't take months, years of time to develop something. So rather what we take is we take a sprint time. Sprint is nothing but 2 to 3 weeks of time. Okay, either 2 or 3 weeks of time. Okay, typically it is just like 10 or 15 working days. Okay, I have seen very less companies that uses 3 weeks as a sprint time. Okay, sprint window. Sprint is nothing but you take a window and you'll consider that window as a goal to deliver whatever you intended to, and you'll be working on it. Okay, onwards in a forward direction. So you plan. This is how whatever you want to do on a whole, the whole team joins the meeting and plans something. And once the planning is completed, okay, we start the scrum, we start the sprint. Okay, as I mentioned, sprint is nothing but sprint will have 10 or 15 days of time. So it usually starts by Monday and ends by upcoming Monday. So once during the sprint, every day, okay, every day, okay, here you have planning. So in the planning itself, what task needs to be delivered, what is the goal for this current sprint, who is going to deliver it, and who is going to do what, and for this particular story or particular feature, how many developers are needed, and how many testing resources are needed, how much effort is needed for the developers effort, and all these things we need to discuss. And once planning is completed, the scrum master will start the scrum. Okay, the scrum master will start the sprint. Okay, once the sprint is started, you will have every day, one day will be reduced, and every day morning, usually start of your day, will have a scrum call. Okay, and these are these processes referred as scrum ceremonies, and every day we'll have a scrum. And once during the scrum call, okay, what we need to speak. Okay, every team member should, okay, the scrum call, okay, as per scrum, none of the call should last more than 15 minutes. Okay, whoever wants to talk, the meeting size should always be less than 15 minutes. Rest of the 15 minutes is optional. Okay, so every day at the start of the sprints, here are the points that you need to mention. What you did yesterday, what you're going to do today. Do you have any blockers? Okay, what you did yesterday. So the scrum master will call my name Manoj. I'll just say, hey, I have worked on the story number 1212, and yesterday this is what happened, and I'm planning to work on this, and I have this blocker. Okay, classic example of blocker is, for example, I'm working on something where I don't have a solution at this point of time because I'm figuring out. Okay, but my analysis said that the feature that I am working on cannot be done unless until, okay, an engineer from the other team, just like I'm working on a feature where I reached an endpoint, but for my feature to work and test, I have a dependency on the other team. Okay, then I'm blocked. Okay, for example, another important thing is, how can I say, I'm a developer, I'm developing a feature. My feature has to be validated by the QA, but my feature to be released, but this has to be signed by the QA engineer, but the QA engineer says he's busy or he's not responding you, then you can consider that as a blocker. So you can also mention it as a blocker. Then the moment you mention that, okay, I'm having an issue with this because I was being blocked, I need some QA help, and it's the responsibility of the scrum master to unblock it. Okay, he'll be the first guy who comes and arranges a meeting between you and the QA, and he'll make sure he'll get that sorted. Okay. Okay, if something is blocked, that means you're not doing anything from that point of time, and there won't be much progress on the particular story because you marked it as a blocker. Okay, these are the 3 points. As I mentioned, everyone just speaks for 1 or 2 minutes, and you have a team of 8 members, so less than 15 minutes. 8 into 2 less than 15 minutes the call has to be completed. The rest of them is a parking lot. So parking lot is a place where if anyone has any issues or if anyone want to discuss anything lengthy discussion, okay, you can discuss it there. That is optional. For example, if you have dependency on QA will be there, others can join, others can drop. Okay, this is a Scrum type of methodology in Agile. Okay, so here if you see this, we plan what is needed and we start working on the product. Okay, as a part of the design, this is how it has to look, this is how it has to look, and then we develop the product, and once the development is completed, we test the product, and once the testing is completed, we deploy the product, and deployment is completed, we do a review. This is the Agile methodology. And after 10 days, okay, after 10 days, let me try to add that. So after 10 days, we demo the product. If you are having an active customer or if it is an in-house, you demo the product. Okay, we will demo the product. Okay, so whatever the features that you have developed, whatever the features that the team have developed, they have to demo the feature at the end of the sprint on the 10th day. On the 10th day, end of the sprint, before the end of the sprint, typically in the last day, we are going to demo. We'll demo our features. Okay, we'll demo our features to the team. So whatever we have developed, we'll develop the feature and we'll review. We'll show the product to the product manager. In case if your team directly associates with the whom you call client, then you have to develop and show the feature to them, and you need to take the feedback, saying that if your client or if your product manager says, hey, I'm expecting a horse but you have developed a donkey, but I'm expecting a donkey, you have developed a dog. I'm looking for a product like a dog but you have developed like a rabbit. Okay, so or they say that the product looks good but it's not user friendly, or the coloring is not good, or the feature that I'm expecting is not there. Okay, they need to tell all these features and then you need to work accordingly. All right, clear? Is it clear, guys? Okay, that is called as a sprint demo. Okay, and this is also, once the sprint demo is completed, we'll take feedback from everyone, what is going good, what is not going good, all these things will take a feedback. And then if the product looks good, okay, we'll end the sprint saying that it's a successful. If not, end of the sprint, it's we'll call our retrospective. So retrospective is the end of the day, end of the call, retro call. Here on this call, what are we going to do is we are going to do retrospective. It's just like the retro what went well. It's anonymous, okay? No one asks you who has written it. It's purely anonymous. What went well? What can be done better? Areas of improvement. And if you want to give kudos to anyone, okay, for example, you can always say, okay, what went well? Okay, you're gonna say this sprint I got good support from QA. What can be done better? You can also say that I have did a lot of development, but I got a lot of waiting time from the QA. Maybe we need to have one more QA because QAs are overloaded. You can also say that this sprint we have planned this feature, but I was being pulled by the SRE team for a lot of things, and because of that I was not able to focus on my tasks. Maybe next time you need to reduce some points to me so that I can focus on other works. Or if I get some good help from the DevOps, you can say I would like to give a kudos to Manoj. He has given extraordinary support to me. Okay, this is called as a retro. Okay, and once retro is completed, we'll close the scrum. Okay, we'll close the end of the sprint. End of the sprint. That's all. Okay, this is how work is going to be delivered in the scrum. Okay, you might use a different tool, but end of the day the product remains the same. Okay, the terminology remains the same. So you heard, okay, here are the new terms that I have heard today. Okay, scrum, okay, agile, kanban, scrum master, product manager, okay, scrum master, um, product manager, whom else? Scrum call, daily call,
sprint,
and
yes.
then sprint window, retro, or planning, retro, demo. Okay, here are the new terms that we have. Another thing, epic, story, task, points, blocker. Okay, did we miss anything? Did we miss anything? Are we clear on this? Now, this is how the access delegation and all these things. So, okay, now next, what if you are not able to close the story time? Okay, what if you are that means what if you are not able to develop the feature? So then there could be a lot of reasons. The reason could be, okay, either you are not able to solve it, or either you are blocked because of any reason, or you work towards a goal and the story was something, or you have estimated that the task would be of one sprint, not sprint, but it really, but when you started, you realized that it would need one more day. Okay, in this case, the story goes for rollover. Okay, then it goes for a rollover. Okay, with valid comments. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Are we clear so far? Any questions, guys? So far? Any questions? Srilata, Mahendra, Ambed, Girisha, Murudula, Rachit, Shailaja, Srilata, Vikram, Mahendra. Any questions, guys? Taking a pause. Okay. All right. Can someone confirm me? Am I audible? Check.
Yes, Manoj.
Are we clear, Mudula, so far?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Manoj.
Okay. All right. So we have a few more topics left in Kubernetes, and once those basics of Kubernetes are also complete, then we'll start with CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment, just like how developers develop the features and how they release into the production. What is the strategy involved? Okay, how testing is being done. All these things we'll see. But before that, I just want to spend some time on the interview questions. Okay, let's spend some time in Terraform interview questions. Okay. Let's spend some time. Okay, the most commonly answered questions. Okay, if you say that I know Terraform, okay, how are you managing the state? What will be your answer? Anyone? I'll I'll be asking this question to Rachit. Okay, how are you? If an interview they ask you how are you managing the state in Terraform, what will your answer? Rachit? Anyone?
Yes, Manoj.
Not accepted,
Yes.
Rachit.
No, accepted, but I have not answer correct.
That is not accepted. We spent almost 25 hours of time just on Terraform. Okay. So the answer is we are managing our state on the top of the S3 bucket. Okay. Now another question. What is okay? Why Terraform? As you are already on AWS, why are you not using CloudFormation? Okay, you can say we are also using some third-party products like MongoDB Atlas or Confluent or other third-party products as well. If you use AWS CloudFormation template, this is a technology that is related to just to AWS. You can create infrastructure related to AWS, but using CloudFormation, you cannot create infrastructure that's related to other clouds that you're using. But use Terraform, you can also say that we are using multi-cloud approach. Okay. Now, if your state is corrupted, if your Terraform state is corrupted, what would you do? Okay. Anyone know the answer? Anyone? Just think and let me know. I'll wait.
Yes, I will restore the configuration folder from S3 bucket.
No, your state file itself is an S3 bucket, right? I'm
Yes.
saying the file that you stored on S3 bucket is corrupted. What would you do?
So there will be backup of S3 bucket
No, what do
where
you
we
mean by
can
S3
restore.
backup? You are using managed service, right? You're almost close, and that's the reason.
Yes.
The answer is you always enable versioning. We'll simply go back to the previous version. Okay.
Yes.
Clear? Next. What is Terraform drift? And how do you handle it? Anyone? So Terraform drift is like whenever the infrastructure created by Terraform is disturbed by a human. For example, I have created a server and I have added the tag as a name as Manoj. If someone comes and change the name as Manoj Kumar, and when you try to run the Terraform plan, it says that, hey, I noticed there is a drift. In the code, it says the name is Manoj, but the name of the server right now is okay Terraform server. When you make an apply, Terraform server will be overridden with the name that you have mentioned. This is called as a drift. So this drift happens whenever there is a change in the code, whenever there is a change in the infrastructure that was created by Terraform. If someone does changes manually, then you'll get the drift. Okay, so that aspect is referred as a terraform drift. Whenever terraform drift comes up, the first thing that you have to do is you need to make sure whether the drift is intended or not. For example, the name Manoj is changed to terraform server, and if that is not intended, then what you're gonna do is you'll go and you'll try to run it saying that I'm accepting the drift. And for example, again, you know that it all has to go through the pull request and all. You are implementing some request, change request, and during the change window, you noticed something, okay, and that is true. Now, just like the name of the server is supposed to be Terraform server, but you want to change it to Terraform server 001. Now, what you can do is, okay, you can update it on the console, then you can need to come back to the code and change the value from Terraform server to Terraform server 001. This way, Terraform don't realize the drift because the code and the value that you say are same, so that you don't do it. Okay, next thing, when you store state locally, what is Terraform dot state and Terraform dot state dot backup? Did you notice this whenever you try to make, okay, whenever you try to run, okay, you always have something called as this. What is this? What is this? Anyone have any idea? So whenever you state, okay, let me go to the bucket, I'll show you. Okay, if you look at this case, right? So here you just see only, but when you're dealing with Terraform locally, you see terraform.state.backup. That is just like a backup file. Okay, every time you make some changes, Terraform knows that if you lose this file, you'll be screwed, and that's the reason it is copying a backup, and that is the reason you call it as a terraform.state.backup. And also sometimes whenever you are intending to do something, if something doesn't work as intended, the best practice is always remove the cache. Terraform. Okay, so whenever you make a Terraform init, whatever the plugins that are initialized, whatever the plugins that are downloaded, and all these things is going to be saved in the .terraform. And that's the reason whenever you make Terraform for the first time, it takes a lot of time. But when you do it for the second time and third time, it's not going to take a lot of time to initialize. Okay, clear? All right, next, how do you come to know the list of how to delete the Terraform cache? Guys, is it finding in useful, or are you guys not interested?
No, it is useful, Manoj. Yes,
Not just you, Rachit, others as well.
yes, yes.
Anyone? Vikram, you're feeling it useful? Because again, if we start Kubernetes, okay, we keep on going technical, okay. We even learn more depth in Kubernetes through implementation, but I just want to call that out. I want to make sure we are clear with this, okay, because we are going to do the iteration too. I want to make sure we are clear with that path. Amit, are you clear? Okay. Okay, you know the answer. And how do I list the objects that are created by the Terraform? How do I list the objects that are created by Terraform when you're in the repo? Okay, so from the state you can get it. Okay, so you enter into this Terraform state list. Okay, you need to run the Terraform init first because I deleted it, right? rm-rf, and it's going to initialize one more time. Okay, next Terraform state list. Now you can see the list of objects that are created by Terraform using this code. So terraform.cloudwatchlogger, these are the things that are created. Now, if you want to let Terraform forget about this, okay, you want this to be created one more time. You have deleted the resource manually, and when you are trying to run the Terraform init, it says that it complains about it. Oh, it's not there, it's not there. And if you really want to get rid of it from the state, all you can do is you can use something called as a Terraform state rm. You can mention it. Okay, so you get Terraform state list, so you can get rid of the object from here. Okay, you can enter, it's gone, it will be gone forever. This is how you can eliminate something from the state. Okay, next. Are we clear so far? Okay, perfect. Next question is, what is a provisioner in Terraform? What is a provisioner and null resource in Terraform? Anyone? Anyone can answer it? Anyone? Apart from Rachit? I want this to be answered by Shailaja. What is a provisioner in Terraform? What is a provisioner and null resource in Terraform? What is the prominence of it? The last question. Anyone? Anyone? What is the purpose of provisioner? Anyone? Guys, you are not practicing. I can clearly see it. Okay. Terraform is the most happening thing in the market. If you don't know Terraform, it's quite tough to crack the interview. Okay. So to answer this question, provisioner is something if you want to execute something either on the remote instance that you have created or on the top of the instance where you're running the Terraform, you can use provisioner. And what is the purpose of null resource? And if you want to execute, okay, provisioners are always something that can be executed within the resource. But if you place it within the resource like your EKS or AWS, whenever the provisioner fails, it also creates, okay, it also marks the object as damaged in the state. When you try to run the Terraform apply one more time, it's going to destroy the instance, which is a very bad thing, which I don't want. Okay, that's when that's why I use Terraform null resource to run the bad events. Okay, why provisioners are referred as create time provisioners? Okay, so because provisioners will only run during the creation of the resource. Okay, when you run the provisioner for a resource only during the creation of the resource that will be created. From the second time, it just refreshes, it won't. Okay, so what if you want a provisioner to be called all the time? How can we make sure that provisioners are executed all the time? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, so that's where we use triggers, right? So we have seen this. Whenever you use the triggers, you can mention when this provisional has to be triggered. You can mention any time so that it will be triggered all the time. Okay, we also have something called the destroy term provisioners. Okay, and how can we make sure accidental deletion by Terraform? See, sometimes if you change the name of the instance, okay, for example, you go back to VS Code here. For example, if I come here and if I try to change the cluster name from example to test, as per Terraform, you're asking to replace the whole resource itself. Okay, that's going to destroy and recreate the infrastructure. So whenever you want to prevent the catastrophe, how can you do that? Okay, how can we avoid accidental deletion of resources by Terraform? Okay, the very most important thing. How can we ensure we stop, and how can we ensure that Terraform won't destroy resources accidentally? Okay, how can we make sure the Terraform won't destroy the resources accidentally? Okay, so next, Terraform has something, I don't know whether we covered it. I didn't cover it. Okay, so Terraform has something called the lifecycle policies. So these are some questions that were being asked by my batch 56 student. Okay, he was being asked mostly on the top of the Terraform. I felt 90% of the questions that are being asked in the interview are already covered in my training. So I'm just calling them out. Okay, so Terraform has life cycle policies where you can mention prevent before destroy. Not prevent destroy. So this, what it's going to do is it's going to make sure whatever the resource that you have added this tag, it will never be destroyed. Next, whenever you're replacing the resources, like changing example to test. Okay, so whenever there is a situation where it has to be destroyed and recreated, there is a concept called as create before destroy. So here, a new whenever you intend to delete something, if you delete and then create, there will be some outage, right, in between the gap. That's when create before destroy makes sure whenever a resource has to be destroyed, it creates the other resource first and then it deletes the intended resource. And again, one more question. How can you ignore? Okay, so see, okay, I will ask you one thing. Okay, Rachit, there is a Terraform script that we are using to create an EC2 instance. Okay, and the name of the instance is name is equal to expense and the environment is equal to dev. Clear? Are you clear, Rachit, on this? I'm repeating one more time. There is an EC2 instance. I
Yes.
want yes or no answer. Okay, EC2
Yes.
instance, and that has tags name as expense and env is equal to dev.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Now here, now someone comes and tries to add, okay, monitor is equal to s. Now what will happen? This is created by Terraform. Okay, now someone enter and manually add this tag monitor is equal to s. Now what will happen?
So we are appending the tag.
When you run Terraform apply, what will happen?
It will add monitor tag also.
It is already added, right? It's already added manually. See, you created an instance and it has expense and dev tags. Now you manually added this tag. Monitor is equal to S.
So
When you
it
run
will be
apply, exactly.
deleted.
Exactly.
Deleted.
For example,
Yes.
another option is this monitor S is also created by Terraform. But whenever monitor S, okay, you have some tools that is going to start monitoring. Whenever you say no, it's not going to monitor. But you want to make sure, though you create this tag by Terraform, you want to make sure whether the value of monitor is yes or no, whatever the value it may be, it has to ignore the changes. How can we deal that? Okay. If someone says, if in interview, if they ask you, I want to make sure I want certain changes, certain properties changes should be ignored by Terraform. Even if someone changes manually, I want those properties changes should be ignored. Okay. That's where you have something called as ignore as well. So using this, you can ignore some property change drift. Okay. This is called as Terraform lifecycle policies.
So this will ignore manual changes, whatever.
Of the property that you mentioned. Okay.
Yes.
If you mention the lifecycle as create before destroy is equal to true, whenever a situation comes for a resource to be destroyed and created, it won't destroy first and then create next. It first creates the resource, relevant resource, and then deletes the old one. Okay. And then ignore changes. So there is an AWS instance, and you want to make sure you want to ignore all the changes that are made here. Okay. Ignore the changes to the tax example because management agent. So what I'm going to do is I'll come here. This is my instance, right? What I'm going to do is just a second. Oh, I'm sorry. Tax. Tax is equal to something. Environment is equal to test. Project is equal to expense. Just for the heck of it, I'll show you something, okay? This I didn't get a chance to cover in the training, so I'll just revisiting that. The more you work Terraform, the more you spend Terraform, the more your hands, the number of times you make your hands dirty, you understand it, okay? And if you see this, you're adding the tags. Okay, let's wait. Okay, you didn't add, right? Okay. Now where is EKS? Compute. There is a node pool. Go to the node pool. Now here, look at the tags. Now it has tags, right? Now what I'm gonna do is I'll go here. I would like to do some changes manually. Okay. So what I would like to do is expense hyphen project. Okay. Through expense app project is equal to expense app. I created the value as project is equal to expense from Terraform. Now I'll just come here and I'm changing the value. Now if I try to make a Terraform in it, let it change, let it save. Now it shows, okay, hey, the name of the value is supposed to be project is equal to expense, but I saw the value is expense app. Come on, what happened? Is it saved? Oh, it's still saving, guys. Okay, that's the reason. Let's wait for it. Oh, it's it was not saved. Let me save it. Let's wait. Okay, this is a good to know. I'm doing a change manually. Okay. Let's wait. Before, if you have any questions, you can ask meanwhile. Come on, come on. Come on. So why the changes are not being accepted? Or we'll do one thing. We'll delete the tag. Okay. Okay, I'm not getting. Okay, but that's fine. Here you can mention ignore. If you mention the value as ignore here, okay. 1, 2. Life cycle is equal to ignore changes for the tags. Okay, life cycle ignore changes tags. So whatever the values, okay, this particular tags, okay, tag is the property. It has multiple values. I'm telling ignore the changes that are made on this. From this point of time, even if someone comes and deletes something, adds something, okay, Terraform is going to ignore the changes that are made on this. Okay, this is one nice option. Very, very nice option. Okay, clear? Any questions on this? Any questions? Ouch. I'm sorry. Any questions? Questions? Any questions, guys? Okay, I'll give you one assignment. Okay, think and do it. Okay. How do you integrate AWS S3 with DynamoDB for state lock mechanism? Okay, this is one concept I didn't tell you, but it's just theoretical. Okay, you go and explore this. Okay, I'll ask you whether you do it or not. All right, and that's it. That's for today. And Yeah, I don't want to spend more time because I'm not getting much responses from you guys. I thought of covering at least 20 questions, but most of you guys are looking like unprepared. Okay, this is not acceptable, guys. Okay, we are really spending a lot of time, guys. Okay, and a nice approach that is quantifiable. Okay. Okay, all right. Any questions, anyone, before I wrap the call?
So, Manoj, today you have used another app actually, I think Lucid, right? So it will be auto saved in Git actually. Yeah.
No, actually, I'll ship them back to Miro. Miro is not working.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, maybe I can also put them in Git. What's wrong in it? Let's do it.
Okay, okay.
Guys, just a request. I am not feeling that you're not putting enough efforts. Okay. I want to make sure, okay, we do the right way. Okay. Right now, outside, the job market is not really high. Okay. That's a honest fact. People are really looking at the quality. Okay. So just make sure you learn the stuff. Quality is important. All right. And yeah, that's it. Any questions, anyone? Harish, Vikram, Shalaja, Rachit, Mridula. Okay. All right. That's for today. See you. Thank you. Bye.